When I really look at what I see as the definition of a nerd, I kind of find that a lot of people would probably argue it toes the line of almost being a hipster. But I think that one important distinction between the two, because they can be kind of similar, is the lack of irony in nerd culture. When you say that you love something, it's not to make it sound a certain way, it's because you really love it. Um, I have a stack of vinyl sitting in the corner of my room, and it's not something that I've gotten into recently because it's the cool thing. I inherited a lot of vinyl from my grandma and my mom, and it's been something I've always found really interesting. And uh, I think it's a medium that I'm really glad people are getting back into because there's just something really special about it. And when it comes to like video games, that's a really common thing for a lot of nerds as well. And a lot of different types of games can be kind of in there too. I personally love my GameCube. That's kind of my go-to console. Um, I'm I enjoy first-person shooters and that kind of game, but my go-to is definitely more like I like to play Mario Kart on my GameCube with my friends and just kind of the less competitive, which I don't know if less competitive is even right because that game can test friendships. Um, but regardless, it's something that I really love. It's something from my childhood that I've kind of held on to. Um, Another nerd thing that I think is really important is literature, and that can be different for a lot of or for anybody really. That can be anything from graphic novels to short stories. One of my favorite collections is Zombies versus Unicorns. It's a collection of short stories that I think are just absolutely glorious. My favorite author is Ray Bradbury. He's a science fiction writer, and that's another thing that's a pretty common factor is science fiction. Um, I've always grown up reading Ray Bradbury. My mom would read me those stories before I went to bed when I was around 4, and I grew up watching X Files and The Twilight Zone is another favorite of mine. I could quote so many of those episodes. I've probably seen all of them multiple times. Um,